you, Lisa. Fernando, can you lead us in the invocation, please?
Yes. Please bow your head in prayer. Dear Lord, thank you that we can be gathered here today to do the city's business. Please help us to make the best decisions possible to help our community so they can prosper and move forward. Please bless all those people that work hard to help others, especially in these difficult times. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mike, can you lead us in the prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll go to summary of current events, and we'll start with Councilman Pastor.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything today.
Thank you. Jesse?
Mayor, I want to thank Vince from Public Works today. He assisted me with taking out one of our loads to the freshwater and wastewater facilities, helping them ensure their water is safe is to help us ensure our water is safe and secure. So that's going to be an ongoing thing that hopefully we can work with Paul and go forward. I also want to thank Brandon Gillen and Dave Kemp for their years of service to the city and wish them well in their future endeavors. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few things tonight. First of all, I attended the hamburger fry on Friday night. Haven't been there in a while. And what a great turnout that was. We probably had, I don't know, 50, 60 people there. So it's a really good turnout. So I highly recommend going there and attending that. I think it was $10 to get in. You got all the food that you want. And it goes to a good cause. And they did extend that, the fry normally is over in August, and they're extending it till the end of September. So if you do get a chance, go out and check it out. It's over at the museum chamber / parking lot. So it'll be the 4th Friday of every month. So, and then I also got to attend the pool. We had a special tour. We had one today. I didn't get to go today, but I did go last week, and man, what a gem that thing's gonna be. So if you do get a chance, I think it was open to the public today, but we're still looking at about the last I heard was July 15th to the 22nd, possibly, maybe the 1st of August. So that's gonna be a real special treat for the city and the surrounding areas. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. And then lastly, I just want to remind everybody this is First Friday, this coming weekend. There's going to be a lot of activities going on this month. I'm personally going to partake in the side-by-side July 4th tour. So everybody that has a side-by-side, decorate it with flags and whatever, lights and all. And I believe we're going to start out. Are you going to be here, Kenny, or are you going to?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's over by where the cruise is, isn't it?
I don't know where they're starting, but I know. Are they starting with the regular area, the Active Adult Center? Yeah.
Is that? Okay. So the buggies, the side-by-side. Oh, are they?
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'll of course attend all the other activities on First Friday. That's really growing, so I want to thank everybody that has made that happen, because it is quite a show. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mariano?
Same subject, two different areas on water. There was a second tour this morning about the pool, and they've had a lot of progress since last week, and so it's marching right along. Some supplies are in, and they're really just progressing well. I'm really pleased with that. The second thing concerning water is that it is monsoon season, and I really urge people out there to be very careful in the creeks of the region. We haven't had a lot of water running in this creek here, but in Bloody Tanks Wash, there have been 2 rainstorms that produce sufficient water for Miami Wash to run bank to bank. It wasn't flood stage per se, but it was bank to bank. So if you see clouds, or if you're in the creeks, pay attention to your surroundings, because those creeks can rise very, very quickly in this time of the year. So be careful out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Fernando?
Mayor, I don't have anything to report.
Ready?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. I also went to the swimming pool construction tour a week or so ago. You know, what's impressive now is that we're being told moving forward, the things that we're going to start seeing are going to be the things that are above ground. A lot of the inner workings have been
Never fails.
Yeah. But, you know, a lot of the inner workings were subgrade. And now we can start seeing things come to light, you know, the buildings, all the uprights, things like that. So it's getting pretty exciting. The other thing too is it's budget season here at the city. It's budget season at my work. So I am thoroughly exhausted with budgets. But I do want to thank Chancey, our budget director, finance person that we have, the city has hired. She's here tonight. I'm sure you'll hear from her, but thank you for spending the time in the budget meeting that we had to help me really understand the process as you are laying it down and how we can understand it. I just appreciate the efforts and your time on that, because I know it's, well, for you, it's probably a snap, but you know, for us, a lot of dollars and a lot of departments, a lot of asks, and you know, we as a council have to make decisions. So thank you for that time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Freddie. I have a couple of things. Reminder, tomorrow night, the 29th, at the Board of Supervisors from 6 to 8, they're going to be presenting their engineering flood mitigation plan, or update on it, and that's concerning the 6-shooter canyon and what they're doing for mitigation. The next day at the Board of Supervisors office from 6 to 8 also, they're going to discuss Russell Road and what they're doing in mitigation there. So it's open to the public. All those areas affect us. Whatever they do in the 6-shooter, the Russell area is going to affect areas either in the downtown area or in the Walmart area and all that where we saw flooding. So it's important that people show up and understand what's going on. Mike mentioned First Friday. I want to add, we're still having our custom car cruise also, and that's at 6 p.m. And then later on will be the lighted buggies parade, which will be neat. And they're having a laser show also, and that's at what time? 9 o'clock is a laser show, and they'll also have 6:30, I think, is Imagine Neto. His band will be playing at the Dominion Park down here across from the Vita. So a lot of things going on Friday, so come out and enjoy the time. On the 7th, the Chamber of Commerce holding their annual awards banquet for the Citizen of the Year and Kip Culver Award. So if anybody's interested, obviously get a hold of the Chamber of Commerce, and you can purchase your tickets there, and I think it's $40 a piece to go to that event. I also just want to pass on a rumor that we may have our city park open if we receive our wood chips tomorrow.
Well,
So we're hoping that it's open by First Friday. So
I hope that sounds like a positive rumor.
it is. So I just wanted to pass that along. And lastly, I want to thank John and Martinez, and you have another gentleman here from the Forest Service. I'm sorry I don't have your name, but I'm inviting them up to call to the public. They're working under a program called the Healthy Forest Initiative, and they're working in conjunction with John and the city and working in different areas with a DOC crew that is some hard work out there, moving a lot of brush and debris. So I'm going to leave that to Martin and to come up and explain all that at call to the public then. Yeah, there you go. That's what I say. And that's all I have, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Yes, indeed, tonight is pretty much the culmination of budget season. This is the most important night. Like I say, I just want to say thank you to all the staff that worked with myself and with Chancey and her crew, Carrie and Jamie, the three of them working, through all different channels and avenues to get everything together. And it is a, when they say it's a moving target, it really is a moving target, especially when, you know, information comes and we keep building on that. And I think we can put 8 to 9 hours total of council time meeting with us to make sure we had everything right in the work groups. Also a quick shout out to Shelley, who's helped in the period with some of the procurement and managing that. And she's like I say, she couldn't be here tonight, but we have Lisa taking over the reins. And so we appreciate her stepping up as deputy clerk to sit in the big chair. Mr. Mayor, members of council, that's it. Thank you.
Good. Okay, next we go first community call to the public. And I have one speaker card for the community call. Martin, if you want to come up, and you guys want to come up and explain a little bit about your program and how you're benefiting our city, actually. We'll have to go to the mic.
Yeah, go to the mic. Thank you.
He doesn't need this, by the way.
I'm not this
It's on-
fancy.
it's
This
on
is way too
YouTube.
fancy for me. So the governor came up with this program, the Healthy Forest Initiative, and his plan was to hire 72 10-man crews. That's 720 inmates throughout the state. And Globe has 40 inmates, which is 4 crews, and then Fort Grant started one and such and such. Well, to come down to it, last year, I was on the Telegraph fire. I was fighting that fire up here in the Telegraph. Started on the Mescal, went to the Telegraph, and I saw the devastation that it did in the Pinals and the El Capitan. Flooding came, and Miami got flooded out. So we went into a phase 2 fire restriction, which with DFFM policy, we can't run chainsaws. That's our policy. Just in case you start a fire or something like that. So I went to the city of Miami and talked to somebody over there, Josh, to help out. So we went to the Bloody Tanks Wash and we cleared out about probably 6 to 7 ton of debris. And they've been taking pictures saying it's flowing nice and free now. It's not causing any issues. And then I got with Richard and we started cleaning up all these washes around here and over by Bear Tree doing some fire wiping. So I'm trying to keep my guys busy and I'm trying to help the city that we actually represent. And then once the red flag warning lifts, we'll be going to our normal projects of thinning out the forest and trying to keep these big fires from happening in the future.
Great. Good.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just kind of wanted to extend that thank you to this group, because if you've been anywhere, the areas that they've been working, it's tremendous to see the coordination that they have. I also thank our staff. Richard Thomas been, I've taken some phone calls and met. Richard's been the one that's actually been, with these guys every day, checking on the progress in our staff. The guys that are working, we did the area where Escadilla, where we had talked about, we did a lot of preliminary mitigation in the main areas, and we wanted to do some of the feeding areas. And these are actually the high point areas. They've taken weeks off of our project list for the amount of work that they've done. I mean, you've seen trucks. If you saw Bear Tree yesterday to this morning, there was a height, the fire last year, we had residents out there cutting their own weeds because we couldn't get to it. So that's why these areas were a big focus of that. But also in the creek crossing, I noticed last year, and a lot of times when we're crossing these creeks, when I'm closing them off, you don't see the barricades until you're on them. If you go and look at that now, even in the evening, it's totally, I kid with them this morning, so we're gonna want picnic benches out here now because how well they clean the area. So it's just to that magnitude of the area, the work that's been done, and I just truly wanted to make sure that we made note of their efforts in our area, because it's affected it from Miami all the way through, and we're still not done. And I do appreciate the help that they extended to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Special presentation and ceremonial matters, we have none.
We have none.
So we'll go to the consent agenda, and matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council or staff may remove any item for separate consideration. Item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. Accounts payable, $640,801.61. Consideration of approval of council minutes, January 11th, 2022, council meeting minutes. Consideration of agreements and purchases less than $25,000. Consideration to approve the MOSAC to the Yuma Street Historic Staircase as part of the Starizona Trail Route donated to the City of Globe by the iArt organization. Consideration to approve the second phase of Starizona Trail Route gift in two parts, the 4-foot tie bench to the North Broad Street Staircase, Pasco Stairs, and the poppies and serapes to the Sutherland Street Historic Staircase donated to the City of Globe by iArt of Globe organization. Consideration to approve the red cardinal perched on a ponderosa pine branch mural along the North Sutherland Wall at the part of the Arizona Trail Route donated to the City of Globe by iArt Globe organization. In discussion and consideration to approve change order number 1 for contract number CS-2022-0013 to CDX Contracting LLC for the Police Department remodel project in the amount of $6,063.90 from account number 10-57-52200 Police Capital Outlay Construction. And G, acceptance of BHP mining donation of rope equipment to the Globe Fire Department. Do we have anybody from the public, the council, or staff that wants to remove any of these items separately?
Mayor, I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
I do have,
Or do you?
yeah. I would like to remove items C, D, and E for
Okay.
separate consideration.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda minus items C, D, and E.
Second.
Motion is second to approve consent agenda as read, minus C, D, and E. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. So the reason I removed item C is that is the MOSAC that the Yuma Street Historic Staircase, that has already been approved, and it's already in progress working, so I don't think it needs any further approval on that one.
So, and then, let me check with Lisa, there's no change in the artwork on C, on the mosaic? Is there,
Is that
because
C, or
there's,
is that gonna be D, I think?
so there's no changes then, Mayor, that was our,
The Yuma Street, no.
mistake on Yuma then to have it on there. And so I would, motion to table.
Remove it.
And
Remove it
deal.
or approve it.
What's that?
Remove it.
Yeah, you can, well, it's removed now, so but right now it's on the discussion, so you could just, vote to remove it or to, table it because it's not necessary.
Because they've already, they started and it's already been approved on.
Yeah.
that, so.
That's
Item C.
Apologies to council on that.
Yeah, it's a lot of parts on there, but I think we'll straighten it out eventually.
It's so special, we loved it. We put it on twice.
We'll get it done.
Okay.
And then the other?
We
So
want
then motion second to,
motion to remove C.
yeah, right. Okay, and then,
Mayor, I'd like to say something before we vote.
We got a motion and a second?
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to remove item C and any further discussion, yeah. Not sure, but
Okay. I just wanted to publicly recognize this artwork. I've seen the renderings. Not only that, it's a continuation of some of the artwork that we're seeing in this town. On our buildings, the stairs, downtown, and it's really starting to have a profound impact on the beautification of our area here, our downtown and some of these areas. So if you get a chance, really go take a look at these. You'd be amazed by the artwork. It's really professionally done, and it's really beautifying our town. So I just want to recognize the group, IR group, for that, and their team. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's many more murals coming up also. If you haven't seen the one on Sycamore yet, Sycamore and Deverell, just east of there, it's a big wall, private wall that's up on the thing. It's amazing what it looks like too. They're working on that right now. So call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passed. So item is the route, is the tie bench. We already approved the middle bench.
Okay.
Because the city was gonna install it. They're gonna order it. I think and that's all it calls for, two parts. I think they'll submit some else, but I'm working with them also, and I'm working with Lisa. The poppies in Sarape and Southern Street historic staircase, that's the one that they've changed. Yeah, the design and the artist, that's one. So it's the one we're seeing here now. So that's one we'll be approving, this one that we have the picture of. Yeah, that's the one they're talking about. Yeah, that's gonna be the second set of stairs, right past the footbridge. That's the one that's there. And what they were waiting for was the repair of the bottom stairs, but the city already repaired those bottom stairs. So that's what they're waiting, and they ended up having to get a new artist, and the new artist brought a new rendering in, and this is it right here.
Okay. And so, Mr. Mayor, members of council, there are no changes then also on this one is what the bench, it's.
Yeah, the bench has already been approved, but they are working on a rendering to put a second bench at the top of Pasco stairs.
Okay.
But they'll be working with John and the building inspector and everybody to see on mounting that and what the proper way is. Those things are like 9 months out to a year for delivery.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So then the recommended action is to table this one also because it's.
No, or to approve this new artwork for
Okay.
Sutherland.
Okay.
That would be the motion for that one. That's right. Motion and second for approval of the new artwork and artists that will be doing the North Sutherland stairs. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. And the last one that's on there was the Red Cardinal, and that's been approved already, but they're looking for an artist. The artist backed out of that project, so, but it's already been approved with the city staff on that one.
But it has been accepted as a donation by the council?
I thought we did last time, but we can accept it.
I don't believe this one is gone.
I don't think the Cardinal is a
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah, that's the wall prior to walking onto the footbridge.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess we'd accept that if we want to accept it.
And just a quick explanation, like I say, the iArt has a lot of these projects going forward. I had a conversation with Gina and Mayor, you and I had a conversation about coming up with a tracking system and a numbering system by the date of the submission, and then if any changes, and that we follow through because it needs to be submitted. We need to evaluate, review, get the recommendation, and then bring it to council. And it's coming, just so the public understands, it's coming to council primarily because we are the property owner. This isn't council approval of art. We never want to put ourselves in acceptance of judging art. But as a property owner, you do have some flexibility to say, do I want my walls to have this image or that image? And that's why. A lot of the times, switching out the artwork, these are, I agree, these are high quality, very professional artists, very beautiful pieces of art. And that's not so much, but still it's important that council see what is being put on your property. And that's why we have this, what appears to be a complex process. But I think we'll get the mojo down as these projects come through.
So the movable one that's on Tanner's building, that's not our building. That's his building, but he has to submit his rendering for what's gonna be there, right? For our approval.
We approved that already.
No, I know
Yeah.
that, but it's.
So
the
only
intent is to
if
change it
that's,
though, isn't it?
so there's if it's in historical district, needs to be approved, and if it's deemed a sign, it would need a permit. And I think that we determined that it doesn't require a permit. And so a lot of times we look at things to make sure that it doesn't meet the qualifications of a sign. So anything can be called art, but if it's, buy this here, we have to make sure it truly is art and not an advertisement.
And I think that was more the framework that was approved. The building inspector we had to approve that, to put
Yeah,
that, that it's a
mounting
mounted
and the
frame
safety
on
of
there.
that. And I'm luckily it was being put up by a professional sign person.
But when he submits a rendering, we have to still approve it because it's his building, not our building, correct?
If the rendering is of artwork and there's no change to the frame, can we talk offline? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to say something that I'm
All right, we'll
not
talk
fully
about
prepared to, and, have,
Because you're making two statements. You're saying we have to be approved, we have to approve renderings on city property
as the property owner.
as the property. owner.
Yep.
Tanner's building isn't the city's property. That's his building.
Right. And if it truly is artwork, then I don't think that other processes, they're in the historical downtown.
Yep.
And so that's where that kicks in.
It goes through the historical preservation or downtown association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they bring that to us.
Oh, okay.
But now if it's off in a neighborhood and somebody's putting, poppy seeds on their wall and it's private property and then they have that, right?
That's like the one on Sycamore. That
Yeah.
didn't come to the city at all. That's private property.
Hopefully that helps.
We'll talk
I
later.
guess. Approve the artwork. So we'll need approval to approve the artwork,
Accept the donation.
accept the donation. Okay.
I'll move to approve that, accept that donation.
Second.
Motion second for approval of donation from the iArt. Any further discussion? I'd like to just say, though, I've been in communication with Thea and Regina and the iArt, and they're very appreciative. They understand our staff is very busy right now. There's a lot of moving parts in our city right now going on. And they understand sometimes the delays and stuff, because our staff's busy and it's hard to get together, but they really appreciate everything. And so we'll get it straightened out.
It's been going very well and he's very positive and we're, like I say, every cycle we're getting quicker and more efficient.
Okay, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passed. Thank you. We go to new business, and under new business, I'll be opening a public hearing. We'll have a public hearing in consideration to approve the Series 10 beer and wine store liquor license application for Family Dollar store located at 2250 US Highway 60, number 1, Globe, Arizona. So at this point, I'll open the public hearing, and it'll be open for public comment. And I have a couple of cards.
Yes, so go ahead and call your,
Yeah, and when we call your name, if you come up to the podium, make sure you talk into the mic, because we've got people listening on YouTube. State your name and your address, please. I have Sushma Patel.
and Mayor, we want to, so this is for the liquor permit that is located in the Judy's the Judy's Shopping Center.
Right next, it's next to the beverage house, isn't it?
Yes.
Somewhere in that area?
Yeah, and just so people know, Tractor Supply, Arizona Water is there, and that's the location, because there are a number of dollar stores that are out there, but this is that dollar store.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and fellow council members. My name is Sushma Patel, and I'm the owner of Beverage Place, which is located right next to Family Dollar. In fact, we share the wall. And we've been established since '95 and under my ownership since 2008. We sell beer and liquor, wine, tobacco. By having a Family Dollar, which is chain store, they will be selling beer and wine, and it will really hurt the business. Our business is helping local community since 95, and also needy families every year. We've been supporting them financially. We've been supporting them other ways. And we would like to continue doing that. But if chain store will come in our way to compete with them, it will be very difficult to continue our business the way we are doing. And this business has been managed and operated by local women from Globe and Miami area. And I want to make sure that that happens in future as well. In addition to this, there are 14 active licenses in Globe area, where population is somewhere around 9,000 plus or minus between Miami and Globe. There are 7 active licenses operated by chain stores and 7 independent stores like us. By having more chain stores taking over beer, liquor, wine businesses, these independent stores will be in trouble. So I ask all of you to help us out by making the right decision to help the independent businesses and help the local communities. That's all I have to say.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Don't.
I also want to add one more thing, that I have 215 signatures, which are in support to us. They are opposing this new license that is going to Family Dollars.
We have copies of those, the signatures. We
You
have
do?
copies of them.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, well, there should be one master set up there, Mayor, with you.
Sorry. Oh,
You-
you,
I-
I'm sorry.
Pass it. Pass it around.
So I guess your concern is that the competition will hurt your business then?
Correct. Because most chain stores, their primary sale is not beer and wine. Primary sale is general merchandise. So most chain stores in town, they're selling alcoholic product way under cost. And we cannot compete with that. Because they want to drive the traffic in to sell the other merchandise at higher rate, so they can take the loss in alcohol product. So, I mean, we've been facing a lot of difficulties, but we are surviving. But having more and more chain stores coming in and selling beer and wine at cheaper rate, it will be difficult for us to operate and support the local community.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just a quick question. What was the method of collecting the signatures?
The customers saw the sign outside on the Family Dollar door where it says they're obtaining liquor license. Our vendors are seeing that, but majority customers walking in, because it's right next door, it's obvious they can miss it. So they are in support with us because they wanted to support the local businesses.
Loyal customers.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
but we have not forced anybody to sign the petition.
No, I'm not what I'm saying. I'm just wondering, and it makes sense. They have to post the notice of the liquor license on the window, I think, or door at the dollar store. It should be posted.
Right.
But
It's been posted, yeah.
thank you, though.
But thank you for allowing me to speak in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I can say, Jackie? I'm not gonna attempt the rest of it.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Vice Mayor and fellow council members. My name is Jackie Baruman Jenkins, and I am the manager of the beverage place, and I have been for the past 27 years. Located at 2250 Highway 60, and we have been established for since 91, but 95 is the base. We are here to voice our concerns regarding Family Dollar's application for a beer and wine license, which is located right next door. If they obtain this liquor license, it's going to impact our sales. Beer, wine, liquor, and cigarettes, in a nutshell, is what this business is. We're a liquor store. When they started selling cigarettes next door, it definitely impacted our sales. There is many, many businesses in the vicinity that we compete with and absolutely don't need one next door. The the City of Globe talks about supporting small local businesses and holds a first Friday to do so. And that's exactly what we are, a small business. We're a mom and pop store. We support the community in many, many ways. We provide our assistance as long as I've been there, 27 years, with the loners, the independent riders, Tri-City Fire Department, local tragedies that hit the community. They always come to us and we represent. We always help them. So to bring another license right next door to us, it's gonna devastate us. So I hope that you take our concerns and consider Family Dollar license, and knowing it could potentially close our doors. And I thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we have a couple other.
I have another.
Oh, do you have one more speaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashley Haynes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilman. My name is Ashley Haynes. I've been with Beverage Place for 14.5 years. We're a mom and pop store. We're there for everybody, community. I have people from all over the state who come in and ask what's going on in our town. I tell them about the first of Friday and then a second Saturday for Miami. I let them know what's going on. They love it. You know, they come support and they want to keep supporting. So hopefully we can stop this from happening. That's my job. You know, I work for good people, family emergencies. The owners have come work for us. I had to have surgery. I got extra time off. Mom and pop stores support, their employees better. So I'm hoping that we can stop it.
Thank you. You have some other ones.
Then we have you want to read we have a letter and a text so far.
Letter from Shop. To whom it may concern, I, Shelley Armstrong, voice my concern. Family Dollar located in the Cobra Valley.
It's on.
In the Cobra Valley Shopping Center getting their liquor license. Not only will it take away a lot of the businesses for the only liquor store in our town, but it will also impact my job at said liquor store, Beverage Place. I support myself and my 3 children. If my job was no longer available, I would lose everything I have worked hard for, and I would not be able to pay for my daughter's high school graduation. Sincerely, Miss Shelley Armstrong.
Then
This is from Tracy Quick. We should support our local businesses. I support the Beverage Place. Tracy Quick.
Mr. Mayor, I don't think the applicant is in the room, Brenda Sallard, although this is she is the agent for Family Dollar Inc. Out of Chesapeake, Virginia. She's not in attendance, or no representatives from the dollar stores here. I don't believe. Is there anybody from the dollar store? Okay, I'll just make sure.
That's all. Open it up to council for comment.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, I don't know if you want to, at some point, I'd like to share with you what we heard from Bill Sims, our attorney. And so it might help with your how you handle this. So if you're okay, I'm going to read to you what Bill said and explain a couple things. Because I was on the phone, we were on the phone with Bill. So we were asked as a local municipality to approve these. Bill says that the city recommends approval. No hearing is required by the state liquor board unless the board of the director or an aggrieved party requests a hearing based on grounds that issuing a license will result in public convenience and best interest of the community not being substantially served if a license is issued. So if the city recommends disapproval, the state board must hold a hearing if the city does not have a hearing about this standard of substantially served if a license is issued. And if we make no recommendation, it's unclear. But so if council approves this, they would not hold, the state liquor would not hold a hearing unless an aggrieved party asks for that. If we disapprove that, it's not going to stop it, but it will trigger a hearing by the state liquor board. So anybody who has a concern can share that with the liquor board and make that case. And let's see here. And I'm going to read to you directly from the state statute, how it is worded here. It says, if the city or town or the county recommends approval of the license, a hearing is not required unless the director, the board or any aggrieved party requests the hearings on the grounds that the public convenience and the best interest of the community will not be substantially served if a license is issued. Now, I'm not going to offer any explanation of that standard as to what meets it and doesn't, but I think it's important for you to know what happens if you approve it and what happens if you don't.
Read me what happens if we don't approve it.
If you don't approve it, it will trigger a hearing with the Department of Liquor.
But the party that's not approved, which would be the big corporation office back in Virginia, they have to file.
They will have to attend or participate or do whatever is required of them.
Can I make a comment?
Huh? No, go ahead.
Well, I've lived here 73 years now, and it's always been support your hometown people. The liquor store's been down there at the Cobra Valley Shopping. Is that what it's called? Cobra Valley Shopping Center? It's still called that? Probably one of the first main businesses down there. I hope it employs our local people. And I don't frequent it very often, but it's been there and it's been in our community. And I believe Patel's own several other properties or businesses in the community. Is that correct? Just one liquor store here? Okay. But, and you've been here for the 25 years? Okay. And the what is it, Family Dollar?
Yeah.
Family Dollar's been there how many years? Since 97, but they haven't sold any liquor. Okay. Personally, I don't think we need to approve a liquor license for Family Dollar. They're established. This business is well established. I think they could probably work side by side. You know, the Family Dollar store sells a lot of other stuff that you guys don't sell. You're primarily wine and liquor and cigarettes, I guess. Okay, that's how I feel. I think it would be a detriment to take a long time business in our community and not support them.
Chief, you got a comment real quick?
The city manager asked me to come up, mayor and council, just in case there was a question. This won't be the final say in it, but your vote can immediately enact a hearing to give the opportunity of the ownership to meet with the liquor board and do a hearing, and it would require management from Family Dollar come down and defend why they're there. So they're the final say in this, but it automatically puts it into that hearing to give them an opportunity where they don't have to file a petition. If you vote to approve it, they can still argue and file a petition to have a hearing, but if you vote to not approve, create the hearing for them through state liquor,
So the liquor board can still approve it even if we don't?
they can.
Okay. Go ahead, Fernando.
Just a couple questions. One is, I've been running bars for a nonprofit, and as far as I know, you're the only place I can get a keg from if I need a keg. Okay. The other thing that I thought that if they qualified for a license, that we almost had to approve it if there was no reason for us not to approve it. So that's not actually true.
I spoke with Bill Sims, we spoke with Bill Sims, and he said council has carte blanche to approve or not approve based on whatever criteria you feel. It's not fair to put something in front of council if there's a predetermined decision is required. So you do have, the statute says you have the right to approve it or disapprove or table. And so, and that was my question for Chief Walters. What have you seen any of these cases where they've been disapproved by a council and then either approved at the higher hearing or not approved? I'm just curious.
I have not. Every event that I've had involving liquor licenses, whether it's temporary or for businesses, it's always been handled at the council level.
Thank you, man. I stand in agreement with Mr. Pastor that if this is an established mom and pop business, that in the city of Globe, we've taken a strong stance of supporting your small businesses. We economic development to support your small businesses. This is a corporation that employs, again, Globe Miami resident, but this is a corporation that is not, and I think that we need to stand behind them.
If they don't get, I'm sorry. For the folks that are here supporting or asking for our support now, Family Dollar is not going to leave if they don't get a liquor license, are they? Do you know that? They've been there for how long? 97. Okay, no, I don't have a problem. I think we need to support our locals.
Mariano?
We're looking at it from a citywide view. There is another family tree, I guess that is, on the other side of town. Do they have a liquor license?
I don't know that.
I don't believe so.
And if they don't, why hasn't corporate asked for 2 licenses? It may be, but today there's only 1. And I would ask that question at the state level. Why aren't you doing your homework for both stores? I'm not saying anything other than just taking the wide view. And it's nice that we do have those stores in town, but now they want to take a different tack. Competition's a wonderful thing. Well, we run into this before when a large corporation has come in and basically run the others out of business. And I don't have to say who did that, but it is a history here. And yes, it will trigger, if we do approve or disapprove, it will trigger a state hearing, which if we kick it to them, they may go ahead and approve it. But maybe we'll have to attend that particular state hearing to show cause why we are disapproving it from the standpoint possibly of defending our community. And we do this all the time with the state legislature. Why are we defending? Because, then you go on. But in this case, I'd rather defend our businesses here and let the state worry about that ramification, simply because it's good government. It's nice to have both those family stores here, but they're taking a different tack. And you know, sometimes you take a hit in tax revenue. I understand that too. But when you see these mom and pop stores stick around, donate what they can to all the organizations and volunteer community, volunteer agencies that we have here, that says a lot. And so we need to remember that. So I would be inclined to not support this particular liquor license request.
Go ahead, Mike.
At first, excuse me, I was willing to approve this only because new competition is good. Maybe not being next door, but I own a business, a restaurant here in town, and back when Denny's opened up, it almost shut me down. I was months away from closing my doors, and now people don't really go to Denny's anymore. Some do, I shouldn't say that. But I gained back my business. So that's where I was going with this. And then I figured other restaurants in downtown Globe, there's a handful of them. And we're all successful, but none of us are directly next door to each other. So after hearing your stories and some of the other councilmen, I would go ahead and disapprove this as well. If they're shopping at Family Dollar and they want to go get a six-pack, walk next door. What's the big deal? It's not going to make a huge difference if Family Dollar sells it or you guys sell it. It doesn't really matter. But if they were going to shut you down, if you guys rely on it that much, then I'll definitely support your business. And especially you've been here forever. I've only been in business for 7 years. So I hope I can sit back and say, like, I'm still in business 25 years later. So I do support it. I do support the small business. Thanks for changing my mind.
I can vouch for that.
Well, that and being able to get a keg in town would be nice.
Yeah. When you said that, did you guys have food right on here?
They can order it.
So,
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead, Freddie.
So, you know, I was a little torn about this decision and what's being brought forward, because I do believe in business and I do believe in competition, because ultimately that is what the residents and the citizens of communities look for, because they really want the best rate for a product that they're looking for. That's just common sense. Where my disappointment lies here is that there's no representation from the applicant. And so that makes me feel like, you know, how important is it really to you to throw out an application and you're not there to represent yourself in a public hearing? That's where my real disappointment lies, because we can't hear from the other side. But, you know, I think the one outweighing factor for me here is, you know, the beverage store, the beverage house is basically a one or two product store. That's all they do. Family Dollar doesn't need to sell alcohol and cigarettes to survive. They are already surviving doing what they're doing. They're very successful. That's why they're all over the state. They're all over the country. So I'm inclined to, without listening to the, the statute, that, unless we believe it's not, I can't remember the words, but a good resource for our community, something to that effect.
Public convenience and or the best interest of the community, not being substantially served if license is issued.
So, when you look at it that way, it's like, well, we're taking away convenience to our citizens. We don't allow them to do that. But I look at it a little bit different. And maybe I read the statute a little bit different, or I interpret it a little different. There should be something that maybe says we have the autonomy to make a decision based on what can also hurt our local business, based on corporate businesses. So you can flip-flop it, we can wordsmith it however you want. You can have a play on words, but yeah, it may be a detriment in a small fraction to our citizens because they are staunch Family Dollar participants, but it's obvious that we have quite a number of locals that will go to the beverage house and only to the beverage house. And so I hope that you continue, beverage house team, I hope you continue to have that support, those patrons coming to frequent your establishment. But I at this point, I agree. And the one thing that's just really tipping the scale for me is there's no representation from the other side. So that makes me believe that this is something that maybe just was thrown out there without some forethought about how desperate they need to have this, or I shouldn't say desperate, but how needy they want this license. So I think with that, I'm inclined to agree with most of my colleagues here that I'm leaning for the beverage house. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Freddie. Now, this is kind of a unique application. I've never seen one where, we saw 215 signatures. Usually we see signatures from people that live in residence or around it that don't want it, or school or something, but nothing just from customers that are signing signatures. And I think Freddie said competition is good, and you want to see competition in order to get the best price for your buck. So it is kind of unique that I didn't know we had the power to decline a liquor license. But if we decline it, it still could go to the state board and still be approved. So it doesn't stop here. The buck doesn't stop here. I just hope that we don't trigger other businesses that think that just because another business competing against them is going to be detriment to them within the city, other areas of the city. Just because they think there's competition coming in, that they want to come and stop them from opening up a business next to them. That's what it's about. We're seeing more and more businesses. We're seeing a cow ranch come in, and we have a Tractor Supply that's less than a quarter mile away. But it's competition, and it's business. So it's a tough one. But Mike had a question: will it shut down Family Dollar? We don't know that. There's nobody here to tell us that. I do agree with what Freddie said, though. If it was so important for this corporation to come in and get this liquor license, then they should have been here to represent themselves, and they aren't here. So we can't ask those questions, but we see the strong support that the beverage house has and the long time that they've been here as a small business. So that's a big plus for you guys. Because, we didn't know which way we were going to go. I didn't know which way I was going to go, but listening to you and not having the other side of the story, I would think that I would vote to decline it also. Any other discussion, or?
Do we have to close the public hearing?
Yeah.
And then call the vote.
Okay. No other comments? So we'll close the public hearing. And we'll call for a motion to either approve or disapprove the liquor license for the Family Dollar store.
Mayor, I make a motion to disapprove.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for disapproving the liquor license application for the Family Dollar store. Is there any further discussion?
I would just like to reiterate that they provide all alcohol services, so, if you need all the other stuff that goes with it, and sometimes you go to grocery stores, you cannot find it, so they definitely fill a niche
Mhm.
that's important, and if they get put out just because someone can sell beer cheaper, it's a detriment to our community. And so being able to have that service is really important, and so.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, before you vote, if you would like, the council could ask the mayor to put together a statement explaining the denial and to send back to the state liquor, just so they understand the meaning.
I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah, okay. And so if somebody could modify.
Modify my motion to.
So does
Include
Bill
that.
recommend that we send a letter to the state liquor board explaining our position now?
No, he didn't recommend, that was my recommendation.
Isn't that like jumping the gun?
Well, I think, okay, so I'm looking through this, and we're gonna have to send this back to the liquor board with just a denial, and that's it. And it could be one of 1,000 things. I think for this council, it's best served if we explain the denial, or at least in some kind of a statement, so they know that it's a heartfelt denial rather than a technical denial.
All right, I understand.
Amend my motion to include the.
Statement, okay. Statement from the council with your signature.
Also want to thank the Beverage House, a small business, for being in this community so long and supporting and offering your services to us. Thank you very much.
Can I get a point on, who did you get down for the second?
We had a
Because we both said seconds. I didn't know if you got me down as a second, or is Mike? Okay. You can have it if you. No, just, no, but you'd have to agree to the amendment. You have to agree to his. Okay, yeah, point of order. So I will make a second to approve the amendment, discuss.
Yeah.
Does that cover it?
You would second the modified amendment.
Okay.
Do you want to second that modified amendment?
Yes, I will second the modified amendment per our discussion.
We're doing this just for you, Lisa.
You listening, Bill?
Okay, so any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Can I just say something real quick? That is proof of why it's important to come to public meetings. Because I thought that was a. Yeah.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Chief.
Item B under new business, consideration of approval to enter into intergovernmental agreement number 02232022 between the City of Globe and the Gila County Criminal Misdemeanor and Criminal Traffic Case Management and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule. Paul.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is our traditional agreement that we do from time to time that empowers our court. And it needs to be approved by council. We'd like to get it, waive the rules. We can get it done sooner. And Judge Pellerman is here if you have any questions about it or anything. And go ahead.
Mayor, I learned something. I didn't even ever consider the fact that if it's criminal or could be criminal, that it wouldn't necessarily come through our court. And it never clicked until I read this, and I'm like, oh.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense now, but I would have never thought about that.
And would, Mr. Mayor, would you like the judge to speak, or are we comfortable?
Does the judge want to make a comment?
Sure.
Want to go to the podium, Judge? And he doesn't even have to get a vote. He took the time to come down, so we need to let him.
Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council, it's a pleasure to stand before you. This is the lowest pressure moment I've ever had in front of you. So I appreciate that as well. This is the IGA, the Intergovernmental Agreement between the Justice Court and the Magistrate Court. As you're all aware, maybe now aware, the Magistrate Court for the city does not handle criminal cases. We don't have a jury box. We don't have court security. We don't have the necessities in order to fully function as a criminal court. The Justice Court does. They're in place. So my court, Magistrate Court, handles civil matters, civil traffic matters, and city code enforcement matters. Those are usually very low pressure type cases. The need for security can be limited. In civil traffic cases, there is an officer already present in the courtroom. So in that sense, that level of security is already there. So the IGA permits the Justice Court to handle criminal matters. So if a Globe police officer pulls someone over for some traffic infraction and finds that there's evidence of misdemeanor crimes, they would cite them into the Justice Court. Felony crimes, they would cite them into the Justice Court, but it would be moved up to the Superior Court. If it were just civil traffic matters with no evidence of criminal activity, they could cite straight into my court, our court. At the same time, interestingly, I've seen a number of cases where, for example, in DUI cases, where a person will commit a misdemeanor crime, and that's alleged against them, but they will also have several traffic civil infractions, and those are oftentimes cited into our court. So on one hand, we give up some revenue on the criminal side of things. At the same time, in order to gear up and become acceptable to the Administrative Office of the Courts and the Supreme Court of Arizona to handle criminal cases would require a huge, unbelievably expensive revamping to make your chambers or some place into a court room that could handle criminal cases. So we save an enormous amount of money not handling those cases. The Justice Court is already set up for it. They've done it for a long time. And the Magistrate Court, being set up the way it is, has handled the civil cases for a long time. They've done well. So my only concern with the agreement, and I'm not sure if
So Mr. Mayor, members of council, Judge, I'd like to, if it is your choice to approve this with a stipulation of final approval by the city attorney, because there is one comment that the judge had, and I've not had a chance to track down Bill on making that change. So with the stipulation that upon final approval by the city attorney for language. What's that?
and
Do you want to explain?
Mr. Jensen, if you want me to address it, I'm happy to.
Yes.
The contract law always says you look at the four corners of the agreement. You can't go way outside the contract and come up with other things. The contract is what it says it is. Well, I believe it's paragraph 2D. It says that the Magistrate Court will be responsible for the tracking of these cases. And I believe that vagueness refers to these cases as the criminal cases. But the Magistrate Court will not have any ability to track those cases. They won't be filed in. And so, and I think we may have had to deal with a similar vagueness in a prior IGA of this exact same nature. So that's the issue that we just need to kind of iron out. I just want it to be, if it's in the contract, I want it to mean what it says it means in the contract.
Thanks for the explanation.
You're welcome. It's a
Thank you,
pleasure to
Judge.
be before you.
If there's no other questions, I'll make that motion to waive the rules and waive section 2.4-10A prior discussion rule and approve this in with stipulation with.
Yes. Let me just.
Motion and second for approval of item 5B. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. We go to action items. We got consideration to approve resolution number 1858 to adopt the City of Globe fiscal year 2022-2023 tentative budget in the amount not to exceed $42,541,669 with direction to make possible adjustments within the budget and announce a public hearing date of July 26, 2022 for discussion and possible adoption of the final budget and tax levy for fiscal year 2022 and 2023. And Lisa, can you read resolution number 1858, please?
Resolution 1858, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Globe, county of Gila, state of Arizona, for the adoption of the tentative budget and tax levy for fiscal 2022 and 2023. Mayor and council, are you pleased with the reading?
Yes. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Chancey is here to go over the fund summary. But before we do that, I just had a quick presentation to go over changes since we last met on June 14th. There were some internal changes and external changes, things that council requested and proposals that changes we have to get to where we're at. And just so everybody understands, the tentative budget sets a maximum spending of the budget. We still would be back in 3 weeks, July 24th, to adopt the final budget, which may have changes in it, as long as they don't affect the bottom line, which is the maximum amount of money that we're authorized to spend. We don't anticipate any changes unless council has recommendations during this presentation, or we find something that we think is of such importance that we need to include that or make that change, or if there's something we missed or whatever. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go through the presentation here. There are two handouts that you have that we will reference as we go through, and I'm also going to pull it up on my computer as well. So if you want to hit, and who has the, if this works. And then if you can maybe hit the button and see if it'll go forward. There we go. Okay, we're going to do it that way. The next slide, please. So just again, FY 23 general fund budget highlights. Revenues, estimated sales tax stayed the same at 7.5. Bed tax stayed the same at $237,081. Estimated property tax went up just a smidge as we added in new construction. It was $531,043, went to $538,388. And then they're missing a bullet there. The estimated state collected tax, we used to call that state shared, but it's collected on our behalf. So as part of the league effort, we're not calling it, the state is not sharing with it, they're collecting it on our behalf tax. That did drop to $2,998,557. It was $3,079,749. And that is because of our population estimate dropped down from the 7,249 to 7,162. And so this is based off the 2001 population estimates, not the 2000. Okay, so fund balance, council restricted, and is 3 million, and the fund balance contingency is the 357,210. As you recall, we kind of flipped how we are doing fund balance, and Chancey will explain this a little bit more, but we still have that $3 million put away in that lockbox, but we also have for those emergency contingencies, or not so much emergencies, but things we just didn't know we would be needing to purchase. A bad roof, a building or property that we needed to get, an expert we need to hire, and so that's where that's put in. Go ahead, next slide. So general fund status, Council goals, as you recall, bringing the remaining city staff to market rate was a goal. Funding USDA loans for fire station and ladder, and funds to support maintenance of additional quality of life capital improvements. I was going to say, the third one was what we had not added in before. We have added that in at this point. So the budget includes all three of those goals. When we last met, we had an estimated $1,007,000 remaining, and today we have an estimated, and this is a little bit different than the way Chancey calculates. She blends all general funds, but I am looking for basically those significant ongoing expenses, mainly payroll and gas and things that we always have. I'm estimating about $948,327 in remaining operational revenue over operational expenses. Now, once you get into adding in other funds like bed tax and PSPRS, and then you get the one-time funds and the CIP, she'll go through those numbers, and the numbers a little bit different, but still on the positive side. Next slide. Just to make the example as to the types of things that and you have the sheet in front of you, or you should have the sheet. This gives you examples of the types of things that we normally spend unallocated general fund balance for. Is 4-year history, and the average is about 200,000 each year. We had put away that 1.6 million as a 15%, and then we would draw that down roughly 200,000 each year. This puts in a smaller amount that still has to come to council. We do not have the ability to move a penny of this without your approval, but it's I think the better budgeting and with the heavy protected money, pretty much you'll definitely have to be something that we all just agree that it needs to be funded, not just something we miss, but something that's just critical. So we have that. Any questions on that list? You can see some of the different, you can see the history of our things. And so a lot of times it's just unforeseen expenses for contractors, or picking up staff halfway through, or anything like that.
Mayor, just one thing. I think I maybe understood it differently. When it comes to state shared revenues,
yes,
I thought it was a proportion of the population, not necessarily actual numbers. So if the population of the state increased,
yes,
but our population increased by 2, we would still lose revenue because the rest of the state is now got more people, so they're taking up more money.
right.
So it's not necessarily on a per person thing, right?
But it's and it's doubly bad when other people have growth and we have decline. Mm-hmm. Although it's been a tough year for census. On the 2020 census, I think we did away well. We made off well. I think we only lost between 80 or 125 people, and that's not bad, given some of the major hits other entities took within the beating of the pandemic and trying to run a decennial census at that point. I haven't had time to kind of look at what the other numbers did for other areas. I think the fact that we only took about a $70,000 hit, it's a very, what's that?
82,000.
Oh, 82. Doing the math. So, I think we still, given that we, we have lost more than that on smaller numbers, I think we're happy there. So, but that did change some of the numbers in the budget. Next slide. So, let's see. Oh, I'm going to go the other direction. Hang on. Okay. After we met on the 14th, we had a financial sustainability meeting with the work group and with 3 members, and discussed these additions to the general fund budget. These impact the line item. All of these things you see here on this list have already been included into the budget. And so with the inclusion, we still have additional capacity in that ongoing fund balance. But the additions that if you approve this budget will be considered will be 275,000 of additional public works staff capacity and salary and benefits. Public works needs to is in the process of doing a reorganizational plan, staffing up, doing certain things. We didn't want to rush the department into coming up with a hard and fast org chart right now with a cost on it. So we're building that in, and this could be between 4 and 7 people, because some people may be split with enterprise or other shares, and so you may get more mileage out of that. What's up?
We're doing that again. We just did that.
What's that?
Reorganize.
Well, it's not so much a reorganization as an expansion, and John is here to talk about what we have. We're going to have a presentation coming up from John Trujillo. He worked with John to kind of look at the needs, the different things that we have going on, and I didn't want to rush this because we're still trying to evaluate. A lot of it is kind of evaluating what we can move up through the ranks before we go out, but we got to name those positions, and so I think it's going to be a better process if we move a little bit slower and not have to hit with this deadline. But still, I think that's a 275,000 in additional salary benefits going to help bring people in there and fund that. So then the second additional $90,000 to fund one additional patrol officer. This would be, we kind of call it the one additional person to cover every time PD has a loss in staff. Other people have to hit overtime, and every time they're doing overtime, it makes them not less control over their work ability, and so having someone a 1+ hire there when they're fully staffed, that person can do lots of special things. When they lose one, it doesn't cut into their shift rotation and trigger a bunch of overtime. And Chief Walters is here to explain that if anyone has any questions, and that's built in. The other new position, 75,000, to fund a new city grant writer, probably the first city grant writer for the Economic and Community Development Department, and that would be to manage many of the grants we have going on, and applying for a grant, receiving a grant is more than just applying. You have to manage that. You have to get the responses. You have to track the money. You have to report out. There is tons of work that the departments have been doing. We're still doing now with grants, but having a dedicated grant writer that can follow through can just streamline that process and probably pay for themselves. There are not many people who can, in city government, can say they can pay for themselves. Grant writers can.
Has this position been posted yet?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. It's pending approval of budget,
Right.
and this person will work directly under the Economic Development Director, or?
Under economic development, which is the kind of the heart right now where a lot of the money is coming from. The significant portion of our grant activity comes through there, although some comes through both public works, fire, and police. But the stuff you really got to fight tooth and nail for usually comes through the economic development part. But we've been very successful.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. So the
Can I add something real quick there? I know that good grant writers have good tools, and they have access to databases so I would hope that that's factored into, that they have the tools that they need so that they can be successful.
I believe that we have, we have a laundry list of grants with the tools we have now, we have a laundry list of grants to apply for and do that. But of course, if there is a tool to make something more productive, we'll build that in and do that. I know there is a grant like notification. You put your profile in, it pops up and says, hey, this might be for you based on your profile. But I can't remember the name of it, but that would be something that I think internally we would consider in a heartbeat. Yeah, because tracking, we're on a goal to add documentation, tracking, and technology to make sure that we maintain our efficiency. There's an additional $45,528 has been added into this already that continues the PD 5-year lease program. It is 3 Explorers. One of them is a patrol Explorer. The other 2 are I don't know if they have lights and sirens, but they're not fully fully equipped. But I think the detectives will be using them. They're detectives kind of really taking a beating on some of the cars they've been driving. And then there's a plan to buy a Tahoe for the K-9. We are anticipating bringing back a K-9. And that would be, a Tahoe is the larger of the vehicle that's appropriate for that. And then, and I think we emailed out to council, there was a request by Gila House for a direct appropriation in the city budget, much like we do with the Girls and Boys group. They're a popular nonprofit that do a lot of good work here. And that's to be included. On this one, there was a conversation about the reporting structure. If council does pass this budget with this in there, we will ask that group to put forward kind of a pitch as to how they plan to report that. It would be an additional item to issue that, and we can deal with that reporting requirements at that time. So,
Good.
okay. Yeah.
I need that. On this topic, I brought it up, we had our private conversation, but I know there are times when we have to deal with somebody in the public that they need a safe place to go in order to get them to where they need to be. Is there something in our agreement that if they have available space that we could utilize that?
Dale, I'm sorry, Chief Walters, I know that you've been working with Gila House on some of these issues. Is that something they're already doing? Is that something to be addressed in this agreement?
Safe houses.
Good evening, council and mayor. So the Gila House, I'm on the board with the Gila House. And currently, right now, we've utilized them to put people up. And in fact, we had kind of a tragic issue with a lady and her small child that was camped out in the front of the city hall here for a couple of days. We were able to put them up into a hotel for the weekend, and then the Gila House got them in touch with the county for different services and stuff like that. So they do a number of different things. We also have a partnership with some of our faith-based groups here that we actually have. The police department has access to put somebody up. We've done everything for put somebody up in a hotel room for the night, to get them help, to buying them an alternator, and some of my coppers put the alternator in their car so they could carry on their way. So there are some programs here. One of the things that we're working on right now is putting together a flyer for all of our officers to outline all the different faith-based groups or nonprofits within the area that provide some type of services out there. So there's a lot of stuff here. It's just not really well known, but it's getting better. Does that answer council's question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if there could be an option for you if you run into a situation like that, but it said like you already do that now.
Yeah, currently we've been doing that. And fortunately, we haven't had that many issues with it, but we do have some resources out there. We don't have a tremendous amount, but there are some resources out there, and so we've been very fortunate.
And then, thank you, Chief. Lastly, with the success of the First Friday, the city has been working with the Healy County Posse to work the events, and they do it no charge. The volunteers, retired, and people, citizens, and I think it'd just be a good faith effort to offer them a $5,000 donation to, just as a recognition of their donation of time to our successful events on Friday. So that's about 505,000. It's been built in. The other additions, and into HERF, we have the money to lease for a sweeper. It's about 250,000. There's John's smile. There's a sweeper smile.
Big smile over there, John.
So, we haven't we haven't determined for sure whether, like, say, look at the lease versus the purchase and things like that, the availability. We don't know the options, but we wanted to build that in, and to the budget. At least we had that option because that was a council request. And then one late general fund addition, the purchase evidence building, that's moving forward, but we had forgotten to include the money. So we put that in there, and so that is also built into the budget. Okay. We go to the next. Now, there's still some, Chancey and I did some work on some of these issues to get this budget to where it was at. There were some subtractions that we did, and so I feel important to let you know. We did cut 5,000 each off the two technology IT CIP requests. I think they're at 15,000, 20,000 on that, but we still have some flexibility. We moved 15,000 in two grant issues to the fire department CIP, and I'll double check with you if we got that move right. But I think that my understanding there's money available there. We reduced the economic development CIP by 83,170 due to duplication. We had money in the regular budget and in the CIP budget. Worked with the department to make sure that we had all the things needed covered, and so that helped clear some room there.
That's a pretty big chunk of money.
Well, it was a pretty big duplication. So and
so that didn't cut anything out. It was a duplication.
No.
It's not gonna affect you that bad, Linda?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than
I think
82,000.
if she's Jerry would have been proud, I'll tell you, for that duplication.
I noticed we didn't cut any of that area there, Jerry's area.
Well, he's not here to enjoy it, so we're just going through the CI the fund balance. I'm sorry, the general fund, because that is our toughest fund. On the cut cemetery CIP by 6,000, we were estimating 30,000 for the study. I believe that's going to come in lower. We have a cap of 25,000 to has to go before council and be approved, and a lot of times, sometimes these studies. What's that?
We're doing that one tonight, aren't we?
No, we're the CIP or for the cemetery.
The cemetery.
No, it's probably the other one, which is to engineer the
study.
cemetery. Yeah, this is with a long range planner out of Utah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we tell our clients that we have or our consultants that we have after anything above 25,000 needs to go before council, they come in magically at 24,900. So and then this is one I believe we can get some grant funding for, but we moved the 35,000 for the pool field bleachers to possible grant funding. We needed to just cut a little bit more out of there. We're eking away to get this budget balanced and the right numbers there. And so for transparency, we moved that to a grant funded. If we can move it back when we do our mid-year adjustment, we will do that. But it's just I thought in prioritizing that was probably the most likely where we could find alternative funding. Then we had some budget line item subtractions. We reduced the admin budget by about 85,000 because we had some things that we weren't using anymore. A lot of this not necessarily a cut, but something that we were moving away from, and then some trimming, and so that we got a little bit out of there. The fire budget, we took 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and got about 28,000 out of there. About 31,000 for police, and Public Works, 26,000, community and educational, community and, economic development, there are about 4,500 additional we captured in there, and then fleet, 18.5. We had done some initial work on this. These were requests. We went and took them down proportionally to get the numbers to work. I will tell you that there's flexibility within the budget. If we took it from the wrong place, we can move some things around. But I do believe that this is not going to cripple any one line item. And I've told the directors and or have spoken with some, and Chancey's spoken with everybody. You know, if there's a core function cost that we need to, we'll find out that if we run short at the end of the year, we'll find a way to make it right. We're not going to ask them to do, you know, to go without certain core functions of the department.
So this came out of the ABC list?
No, this line came out of their line item list. The first one was ABC list. This is out of their, you know, fuel and yeah. No, I didn't cut fuel. Like, we had to bump fuel. So that was it. Okay, and the next one. And so this is not my handiwork. This is Chancey's handiwork, and it's pretty tiny and impossible to read. So I'm gonna ask Chancey to step up to the mic and kind of give just a brief review of what this is and how this works, and then any questions.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening, public. Thank you for having me this evening, and we can discuss and hopefully pass this budget. I would like to also thank the staff that have worked hard to make this possible, this budget possible. You recently lost your finance director, and for those in the audience that don't know, I'm the interim finance director. The city recently retired their finance director. So this work is really the culmination of the staff and the mayor and council doing a lot of pulling together and making this happen in a short period of time. And not just the department heads, but their support staff as well. And the finance department staff, Jamie and Carrie, did a significant of stepping up and work beyond their job duties to make sure that we can present this budget timely to you. And so to that point, this evening I'm presenting this fund-based balance. It is a balanced budget to you. And I would like to thank each one of the council members that have met, discussed, asked hard questions, and really spoke to department heads and made sure that this budget represents the needs of the community as well as the staff and the future of the city. This budget is not only balanced, I feel like it is a very healthy budget. It represents a citywide increase in salaries and pay to make your employees' positions marketable and retain current employees. It also represents a lot of grant activity, a lot of activity that for future projects that improve the livelihood of the city and the residents of it. It also supports your library fund and your active adult center to the tune of $300,000 that you're supporting those funds. This evening, before you, the budget is balanced, and it has a reserve fund of $1 million that you're operating at your current revenues over expenditures, including those projects for CIP that you have approved, as well as a contingency of $357,000 in your general fund. Your overall budget has a fund balance of $42,541,670. This does include a $3 million fund reserve for the council for future benefits of the city and sustainability of the city. You're also investing heavily in your infrastructure and your enterprise fund and future water resources. The city has a current operation budget of $1,790,000 over your operational expenditures. Overall, this budget presented to you this evening represents just a great amount of work by the city staff, and also is greatly, is really healthy, and I think a fair representation of the great work the council is doing. And I would be happy to answer any specific questions about the line items, and dive into these numbers and any grant activity that you might have questions about.
Fernando, go ahead.
I usually give this speech, but since you're better at it than I am, I know when the public looks at a $42 million budget, they're gonna go, oh my God. But that's not anywhere near what we actually spend, so could you explain for the benefit of the public why that number is so big?
Yes, absolutely, and I thank you for pointing that out. Sometimes when finance people look at numbers all day, they forget how to present the information in a more layman terms. The town does have to represent all of their numbers in some format to the public. So this evening, we not only present to you the expenditures we expect to spend on things like salaries and operational expenditures, and capital projects that we've all picked, but also possible expenditures. We do go after quite a bit of grant money. If we don't budget that grant money in, we aren't able to then expense it if we happen to capture some of those dollars. Furthermore, we also have to make available to you, should you choose as elected officials to spend every penny in your savings account, every penny in your rainy day account. That money needs to be represented and shown and showcased somewhere and given a name to. And in this, when we refer to things like fund balance and contingency funds of $357,000 or reserve funds of $3 million in general fund and other funds, we're really trying to say to the public that the council has done a good job of, and this money is set aside for future projects, future unintended expenditures or unknown expenditures, or just the future financial safety of the town. So we are demonstrating not only money that we expect to expense, money that is in savings, as well as possible money that we could capture in future operations. Are there any other questions?
Chelsea, I have a question on under operate or revenues. Under the government, it still has a 3.1 million, and that I assume is the state shared revenues. But Paul presented to us 2.9 today. Is that a different number, or
There
is
are a
that?
couple of additions. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, it was line item C.
Oh, I'm sorry, line item 8, under revenue under general fund.
And
3.1 million is what's showing there, but you indicated 2.9.
Fancy, I have the master budget here. That line item includes two other line items, Prop 207 Smart and Safe Arizona funds that's budgeted at 35,000, and fire department contractual revenue at 10,000, and that takes that up to 3,124,749. So there's an additional 45,000 in that line item.
From the 2.9 that you presented.
And which version am I on? June 21st. Let me check my version that is current. There's a June 21st version, June 24th version. See if I made it.
Ours is June 23rd, isn't it?
The
copies we have?
Well, no, the June 24th is the most current. That was the one we did Friday. So when I add the totals, Mayor, the totals on the line item, 1 million, for state sales tax, 1,007,546, vehicle license tax, 362,368, and from urban revenue sharing, 1,358,643, and then the new estimate on Smart and Safe, 69,000. The new estimate on fire department is 50,000, and that includes wildland. That's how we get to number. So 2998557 is the 3 sales tax, vehicle license, urban revenue sharing, and the other 2 combined up to 119,000, and that's how we get eventually to 3,117,557.
Okay.
But and the first one I quoted was the older version. These are changing, but I will trust you that Chancey's over there taking notes and is going to check me. So.
I think the mayor's pencil's plenty sharp.
Yeah.
And as council has rightly noted, and staff has brought to your attention tonight, this has been a work in progress up until we received our final intergovernment revenue numbers that you're referencing part of on Friday. The state Senate was late with their budget. We did not receive numbers until Thursday and working into Friday to update this information and bring it to you. And that accounted for some of the adjustments that Mr. Jepson provided to you. And it also, to build up to a budget for the coming fiscal year, which starts July 1st for fiscal year 23, we have to have a good understanding of where we're going to end up in this fiscal year, estimating to end on June 30th. So there's a lot of work that goes into not only just projecting into the future, but projecting into the end of the month, what we're going to receive from what we thought we would receive and what we're going to expense. So this budget, there was some movement in the 2 weeks between last presentation and this presentation, and there will be movement in these line items. And that's why I advocate, and we've talked about this in various meetings, is that I advocate for a revised budget taking the information presented tonight and looking at it through December, compiling that information, and then presenting it again to the council with our recommendations and any adjustments necessary in January or into February, so that we can really capture any of these and tighten up these line items.
There may be money coming in. The one other piece we have is a list of about 40 different grant items from 2,000 to 1 million that are built into here, and those may change. Revenue may go up or down. The assumptions and expectations change. So that's why I believe that Chancey's council to have a mid-year adjustment and make sure that we're on the right track. If there's anything that shows way off in one way or the other, mid-year we can make that course correction before it gets too close to the end.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Mario.
Thanks for bringing that up, the mid-year course correction. I don't know if that's ever been done before, but I'm an optimist. Possibly some of the cuts that we made across the board through the departments, you might be able to bring back, is what I'm hopeful for. So that, I know we have to balance the budget, but maybe we can bring some small pieces of revenue back to the departments to help them out. And I like the idea of a mid-year correction. That's what I'm trying to say.
And the areas we cut down is things that we believe that we were over on, and we can wait and see how close we get. If it turns out that we're underperforming and just, at 4 months where we've spent 6 months worth of it, we'll know we'll have to come back.
And the second item, Mr. Mayor, Paul, you cleared that up for me last night in that review meeting. Where is that 1% new sales tax at? Its location is on line 6, I believe it is.
It is projected into the budget. And so it is just included in our general fund sales tax collection line, and so it has been added in there. The sales tax Department of Revenue will start asking businesses to collect on everyone's behalf on August 1st, and that's when that will kick in.
We will get asked that question. Where is that 1%?
And I will tell you that it primarily is built on those 3 council priorities of stabilizing
Right.
staff turnover, funding the fire department, fire truck, and the and the building, primarily, and then making sure we have the capacity to maintain all the capital improvements and quality of life, that we've been, gracious enough to have shared with us. If people donate and contribute to the city with the trust that we will take those donations and contribution and keep them active, fresh, and safe. And that is represented in the 275,000 for additional public works staff.
Last item, Mr. Mayor. Item 31, contingency unrestricted. I'm referring to that because I had a citizen suggest to me that we put in a handicap button at the main door of City Council to city offices. The person was handicapped for a while, couldn't push that big heavy door or pull it out. And my suggestion to you is, and staff is to consider putting in a handicap accessible plate like we have at the hospital and other places.
Councilman Gonzalez, Mr. Mayor, members of council, John, do you know what the cost is off the top of your head of a handicap door entry compliant?
That'd be great.
Rail,
It's
you don't
actually
know.
it's a minor request, and maybe we can do it out of line 31 is all I'm suggesting.
Rail, do you know off the top of your head the cost for doing a handicap or a automatic door? Well, that's a good price.
Tap them again, Paul.
We'll see if they have an extra one they ordered.
That's all I have. I do want to comment, if I may, Mr. Mayor. Not downgrading you, Paul, but bringing her on board and making this a very easy to read one-pager. It means everything. And in about 15 minutes, Chancey had me last night up to speed, and it was very good. I'm not downgrading your service, sir. I'm just saying it's nice to have her on board. So thank you for that.
The line numbers helped.
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
the line numbers
Yeah.
helped.
No, and that does. And speaking of the line numbers, I would like to refer you to line 35J, and that is the total all expenditures, all funds. That number, Mayor, is 42,541. So 42,541,670. Although there's a rounding error, we're not putting change in, and so the number we put in the resolution as our maximum is 42,541, 669, not 670. So we're $1 under, and we'll have to cut somewhere.
$11.
Yeah. No, but the point, the point of that number is the maximum that we will do. If you notice in your packet, Chancey had completed the Department of Revenue forms that are in the very back. That is a page. And you may have seen that, but there's a whole packet of forms that we will publish in the newspaper for 2 weeks as part of this process. But, and when ready, the last piece we'll do is talk about where we go from here. And I don't know if any more questions for.
I just want to make a comment also, Mariano. I mean, Chancey, thank you for the spreadsheet and explaining it, making it simple. I think we totally understand it now. I think our meeting yesterday was great. I mean, to understand it even better than what we, and again, not taking away from anybody else, but this really helped. Just explain a little bit.
So, Mr. Mayor, before we end the last slide. Okay, so where do we go from here? So tonight you will approve will be asked to approve the resolution 1858 and the announcement that we're going to adopt the final budget and the tax levy on the 26th of July. And just FYI, the tax levy will be represent the same tax levy with addition of new construction, we're allowed to add in there. I don't know, I think we're gonna tweak some of the numbers to get to that same levy, but it should be a flat from last year. But, if council chooses to approve this resolution and notice, from there, we'll put the Department of Revenue paper, charts and summaries into the newspaper. They're published for 2 weeks, and then they'll come back, and then we'll have that public hearing and then final adoption of the budget, based on that public hearing. So let me look at my slide and see if I'm saying what I'm supposed to be saying. Yeah, so tonight, approval of the resolution. The 29th, tomorrow, we'll post the public hearing notice, given the newspaper cycle, which will run on the 6th of July and the 13th. Post tentative budget on website for 14 days also. The 26th will come back and have those final approval of the budget and approval of the tax levy. And we'll have to have it posted in 7 days. Mr. Mayor, members of council, unless there's any more questions.
Okay, so you need a motion?
Yes, to adopt and.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to approve the City of Globe fiscal year 2022-2023 tentative budget in an amount not to exceed $42,541,669 and issue a public notice to be published in the Arizona Silver Belt on July 6th and July 13th, 2022, announcing the public hearing for the final budget that will be held at the July 26th, 2022 council meeting.
Motion and approval for resolution 1858. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed.
Have the
Thank
sweeper
you, and-
smile on now. This is-
And thank you to all the staff too for all the hard work. I know that's been, and even your staff, Chancey, the finance crew and the two ladies in there. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you.
Item B, council would consider possible approval of resolution 1859 directing staff to apply for USDA low-interest loan to fund the construction of a new fire station in the amount not to exceed $8 million and the purchase of a new ladder truck not to exceed the amount of $2 million. And Lisa, can you read resolution 1859, please?
Resolution number 1859, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Globe directing city staff to apply for United States Department of Agriculture rural development loans in support of the city of Globe efforts to replace outdated fire department infrastructure. Mayor and council, are you pleased with this reading?
Yes.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, again, we've been talking through this whole series of this past year about the need to fund a new fire station and a new ladder on there. We are actively going through the is it pre-application, Gary? The pre-application portion. One of the requirements of the pre-application and the application portion is confirmation from the body, the council, that you approve for staff applying for this loan. They don't want to go all that work and find out that somehow that council's not on board. We know you are. Well, at least we assume at this point that you still are, and given that it's funded, but passing this resolution makes that perfectly clear to the people reviewing the application and states some facts and help explains. And I don't know if you would like to read the full resolution if you want me to. We're good with the.
We read the full release.
Okay, well, in the body of it, and that's fine. I just wanted to make the point that we have a fire station that we really can't even determine the age of. It's built prior to the earliest picture, 1913, we believe, earlier than that, but prior to World War I, it was built. We need to build a more modern fire station that is built under modern principles and separates out the turnout gear, the diesel fumes, and the living quarters, and make that safe for our employees. We know now what the hazards of being a fireman just through the exposure to carcinogens, and there are things that we can do to reduce that risk, and so that is really important. We live in a very dense downtown with zero lot lines, zero spacing, and so we need that ladder truck, which was manufactured in 1992, and so those are the reasons that this council has put forth to seek these loans. The loans may come in lower. We can always accept less. And that's why they're high at 8 million for the station and 2 million for the truck. But we believe there'll be less than that. But this gives us that capacity. And then just the final note, we already have a location at 703 East Ash that will be the site of this new station. Mr. Mayor, members of council, I just wanted to explain that for the record.
How long is the process on the loan?
Gary, do you want to do we think we're going to make the September?
Mr. Mayor, council members, the work group that we have working on this, our goal was the pre-application portion to submit over for review. Our deadline is this Thursday on that, but we set a deadline for ourselves of that. That pre-application is then reviewed for applicability within the funding mechanism under USDA. And any feedback we have off of that, along with that, we're in the process of completing the actual application process, which takes and builds on that pre-application process in greater detail and depth to finalize that funding. That is, I believe, for September, with potential funding to be released beginning of the calendar year, somewhere in there, January or February, I believe is the correct.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, that is why, like I say, we have budgeted for this year. And Gary, completion of construction, if everything goes well, 2 years?
Between design and construction, you're probably looking at that to complete.
That was when? I'm sorry, I missed that date.
About 2 years total for design, construction, all depending on market and how things are.
Representatives to help us out.
There's not as much for fire. We're taking advantage of everything we can come up with. But it's not nearly as lucrative as some of the other things going on. But just the fact that we're getting low interest loan through USDA, that's significant help at I think 2.75 interest or.
Yeah, I believe that was the last rate we had was 2.75.
And this is a 40-year loan, right?
So depending on when you're talking about the facility, it's 35. The maximum is 40 years. I think that some of the discussion was 35 years, which gives you some flexibility for refinance, if I understand that correct, if that ability came around. For the equipment, it is up to 20 years, with, I think, discussion was the application, I believe we were looking at was 15, but it is up to 20 years on the equipment.
And if there's a replacement life on the equipment, you wouldn't want to be, you'd want to hope that the equipment will last a little bit longer than the loan. And so Gary's really good at getting, Chief Robinson's really good at getting 25, 30 years out of a vehicle. It's great.
Yeah, in the history.
There was some help there.
Basically, babies.
Not even that.
Oh, I'm that old.
One other question, I guess, on the budget. In the expenditures, that has a monthly payment of this facility already, or is that not in this budget?
No, it is included in the fire department budget, the principal and the interest for this loan, as if we were to start paying it on July 1.
So even though we may not pay that till 2024.
Well, I would hope that the loan comes in and we'll have to start payments before July, a year from now, before July of 2023. If it goes longer, that money will fall back into the general fund balance.
Okay.
But I think it's really crucial to demonstrate to council that we can afford these loans, this station, that we can build it into and pass a budget that meets all the needs and funds that debt that we're about to take on.
And I think the public needs to understand that it's already incorporated. That's at 1% sales tax. Without that, we wouldn't have been able to
Without
do this.
We would not be doing this.
Okay, so do we have to read the whole resolution?
No, I covered it briefly.
Just brief.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Keep up the work.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I'd like to make a motion. Before I make the motion, I feel very strongly, you know, we talked about taxes and a lot of us weren't really set to increase taxes, but I've always said that, in my opinion, if we're gonna raise taxes, we have to have something to show for our citizens. And this is a classic example of what I'm talking about. The quality of life that this is gonna bring to our residents and our community and even our region. Not that it's just sorely needed, but because the department is 100+ years old or somewhere around there, but you know, this is gonna be a step up in quality for decades to come. So, with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 1859, directing staff to apply for USDA low-interest loan to fund the construction of a new fire station in the amount not to exceed $8 million and the purchase of a new ladder truck in the amount not to exceed $2 million.
Second.
Motion and second for approval of resolution 1859. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you. Item C, discussion and consideration to approve contract number PS-2022-0056 with Rick Engineering for the Globe Cemetery Expansion Project Design in the amount of $29,950 from account number 10-61-52200 Public Works Capital Outlay Construction of the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget. Not Jerry. No Jerry.
Is Vince, are you doing this or? Okay, so what this is, oh, John? Okay, no, I can do this. Okay, so what we have is the area that's been highlighted in the map on this is the area that is going to be the expansion of the Globe Cemetery to make up for the land lost because of, well, that's unavailable because of the Humane Society. And so you can see that in the map. In order, before we can start utilizing that land, we need to make sure that we have the drainage, we have a pathway, we lay out the lots. And so we've hired Rick Engineering to go ahead and do the engineering on that, lay that out, make sure that whatever dirt work we have to have. And it's an amount not to exceed. And that's the purpose of this. As soon as they come back with that, then we'll get them index numbered and we can start opening them up for people to purchase. As you recall, we have a moratorium on people outside of Globe using this. Once this gets back in there, I think we can lift that.
When did that start for the restriction? That was July 1st?
A month ago. I think it was
By June.
yeah, June.
So unless you live in the city, you cannot purchase a.
Or have a first degree relative that lives in a city. That's what they'll determine. Yeah. Do we have an estimate? Do you have a guess? Yeah. No one's dying to get up here and talk about this.
Is this the hillside that we were talking about, maybe terracing?
No.
No?
No. This is on the other side. The hillside that we're thinking about terracing is what the long-term planner is going to look at what that looks like. But this is a semi-flat area that was roughly available and had been anticipated, but it's what we're going with, and we do have it's a midterm solution.
Is there a map?
It should be in the
I don't
back.
have it.
Okay.
It's in the.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to answer the question, Councilman Pastor, years ago, the city actually did some backfilling on the backside, kind of where below the Piper property, where's what we actually call reference as the termite area. That's where the Guerreros and a lot of the family, where the past families actually have that area. So we backfill it and have that, we just haven't ever developed it. There's some drainage things we want to address before we utilize that space. The terraced area that you asked of, that will go into the further down into the next budget, of course, with the contract and the overall viewing of that is possible additional. This is for the immediate use of this area that we backfilled.
One other question I have. The Humane Society is taking over the dog park. Okay. Now, is there any land around that? Is there any land around the dog pound that we can use? Because it's still our property, isn't it?
Yes, that's still our property. I think that's kind of gonna go into the long-term planning of it, because where you mentioned the terracing, and there's also adjoining properties that at some point the city may acquire. And that's one of the things that we're actually gathering information to do that research with this planner, so we can probably expand in different directions.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Councilman Pastor, I mean, I'd hate to commingle that, it's just a recipe for, the dignity of those people being buried and combined with that use. I can't remember how many years they have left on that lease, but I think 45 years from now, we'll be able to, reutilize that land. But, but we don't want to have, like I say, I think it's enough separation now. It'd be if it was an emergency. John, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Any other question, comment?
We need a motion on this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve contract number PS 2022-0056 with Rick Engineering for the Globe Cemetery Expansion Project Design in the amount of $29,950 from account number 1061-52200, Public Works Capital Outlay Construction of the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget.
Second. Motion and second for approval of action item number 6C. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Item D, consideration to approve ordinance number 879 and resolution 1852, finalizing the redistricting process by amending the Globe City Code, adopting the new city district maps. Lisa, can you read ordinance 879 and resolution 1852, please?
Ordinance number 879, an ordinance of the City of Globe, County of Gila, State of Arizona, amending the Globe's City Code, Article 2-3, Section 2-3-3 City District, repealing any and all other ordinance and parts of ordinance in conflict therewith. Resolution number 1852, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Globe, Gila County, Arizona, adopting critical criteria for use in the process that will lead to City Council District redistricting in 2004 and providing an effective date. Council, Mayor and Council, are you pleased with that reading?
Yes.
Yes. 2024, yeah.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you recall, this is kind of back on file. We had this lined up. We went through a public process. Even since then, no one has had any concerns. There are not a lot of impacts, but it is important that we balance out our districts so we're in compliance. So this would be the final acceptance of the boundaries that will go into effect in the 2024 cycle. The reason we waited to this point and we didn't finish off there, we weren't sure if there was going to be any surprises from the county side. I know they were still finishing off theirs. I believe they're done with theirs, and so that had no effect on here. And so we're safe to go ahead and adopt this in time for, to get the county on board and not this election, not this November, but, any future elections, and primarily November of, 2024, this will take place. And we'll make sure we get the information out that those who are impacted.
Questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no questions or comments from staff or the council, I would make a motion to approve ordinance number 879 and resolution number 1852, adopting the new city district maps as approved through the redistricting process.
Motion a second for approval of ordinance 879 and resolution 1852. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Late agenda items, do we have any?
We have none, Mr. Mayor.
Second call to the public. Lisa, we have anybody on text?
We have one that Lisa's gonna read. I'll check and see if there's anything else.
From Tracy Quick. She says, very nice for forward movement for a much needed, much safer fire department. Really needed. Now I would like to see the same amount of effort to get grants for a expanded library. Overdue. It's Tracy Quick.
Get grants or what?
The library.
Oh, okay. Yeah, how, well.
That's all we had.
That's all we have. I'm looking, I see nothing in the email, so that's it.
Scheduling of meetings, do we have any?
No changes coming forward.
Consideration of future agenda items?
Anything that council, I think that, I don't know if Councilman Gonzalez wants to add it was a money request for the power door. You don't need a presentation on that. So,
No.
I can't think of anything. I thought there was one out there, but I can't remember it right now.
I have a couple of them because I'm trying to just, again, working with IART. I know the staff just still needs to read or has approved. They turned in a request for East Street mural. It's the beads. That's the East Street stairway case. If we can put that for approval.
You know what date that application?
That was early part of June.
Okay.
And then the High Street stairs was turned in on June 2nd. All they're asking for at this time is permission. They don't have a rendering yet, but if there's any repairs or anything that needs to be done or cleaning, they really don't have an artist or a rendering yet, so we don't have anything to approve. That's a High Street stairs off Sycamore.
Well, and so, Mr. Mayor, members of council, how would we approve that if we don't know what it looks like?
Yeah, I guess to move forward to get an artist to render, because sometimes what makes it difficult, and I think the hard part is they're asking these artists to do a rendering, but they don't have approval to move forward with it. And so it's hard to get a contract with an artist if you don't move forward. So all we're approving really is the stairway case to be painted, because we don't have a say-so in what the mural looks like.
So what, Mr. Mayor, members of council, what we do, when we have this request to do something, like say, we go make sure that it's ready for it, that it's safe to get there. What would be the impact on staff? I think with like Yuma, we had to do some traffic control and things like that. And so those all need to be included in the acceptance process. But I don't know how, if council wants to designate one person to approve the art, and after the approval, or we bring it back for the approval of the art. I don't think that we're, have any danger of something that would be distasteful to council. But I think, what we do here is the pattern and the standards we keep. And so if council would like to approve the process without, saying with dignified art or quality equal to, I think we can do that as I think this through.
I think the question is, and I guess I can understand a little bit on the High Street, they're just asking permission to go after an artist to do it. And it's kind of hard to go after an artist if they don't have permission to paint it on on property. And I guess that would come from your staff, I guess, would say, yeah, you can move forward
Well,
to get a rendering.
well, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, staff can't speak for council.
We've shown that we're in favor of this
Yeah.
project,
Right.
okay? We should encourage them to go out and see artists and say, if they're looking for people to do renderings, would you give us a rendering? And we'll come back with you. The council's very favorable, as long as it's in good taste, you know? Just
But I think what they're doing is they're asking for permission to paint on the stairs. But they don't have that rendering yet because till they get permission to paint on the stairs, it's like every application, makes it difficult because they're not gonna paint anything that's gonna be offensive we're not gonna disapprove the artwork, I don't think. But I think the question is, can staff just give them permission if they go look at the stairs? Or is it council that has to approve to paint on the stairs?
Can we do a scope? Did they give us a scope, if this is the color
Well,
they
it's-
plan to use, or this is what
Yeah,
But it's,
kind of art we're looking for?
so, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think every case is individual. I think we're more concerned about the process, access, getting to there, and that it's gonna be safe, it's gonna last, that we don't need to, oh my gosh, we were just about to jackhammer that wall and you just put this beautiful artwork on or something like that. And so we want to make sure, because whatever we bring to you, we're saying this is requirements, no more, no less. And so we can have that pre-meeting.
Want that to go to quality of life?
I don't know, it just makes it difficult. I know, and we learned a lot from the first process because
Yes.
it was more about changing, there was construction involved and all that.
Yeah,
That isn't involved in any of these requests. The only requests are, can we paint on the stairs and move forward to get an artist?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I would say that we move forward without having the artwork in hand with the applicant committing that it will be something in the range of dignified quality as it has been. And if you feel comfortable with their statement and their personal commitment to you, which I think they have no problem doing, and that would be the standard, that if someone else you weren't as familiar with, well, let's maybe want to see something or ask it back. I think on a case-by-case basis, if you're comfortable that each one that you're to allow that flexibility of selecting an artist, I think we're okay there.
Yeah, because, if it's in the historic district, it's gonna go to HPAC and then it comes to us. But these are out of the historic district. They're just property that we own, stairways, and, and what's the easiest way to move forward, I guess.
Right. But even something as simple as, painting a mural on a wall, the devil's in the detail.
Oh, yeah. But all the stairs are paintable. I mean, I don't know what the problem is. You can paint on the stairs, you've seen it.
Yeah, just the spaces they're doing is all they're
Yeah,
doing. They're
I
not
mean, the process is in place as to how they're gonna do it. I don't know why they're just don't go out and talk to an artist and say, these are the options, and
A lot of them won't give you them though.
really.
Well, it could be because there's money changing hands. And an artist is not gonna commit to anything without
Permission to draw it.
Without
He's gonna
being
do a
paid.
rendering.
Oh.
So I kind of feel like that might be it. There's money changing
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
Artists can't commit without, and they don't want to pay an artist without a
get it now.
guarantee.
Yeah, they're not gonna do
Okay.
pre-work for no reason.
Right. Mayor, let me talk to them. I now understand the dilemma. So we can figure something out.
I'm just thinking like a business guy.
Yeah.
They turn in rendering and then the city
Yeah.
says, no, you can't paint on the stairs.
Well, then you owe me.
Yeah.
Now you owe me some money.
Okay.
Okay.
I get it.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Any other future agenda item? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending, please.